Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Foreman community demo. I'm here with Avi, again, co-hosting today's demo.
Hello.
For any questions, use the YouTube live chat, the Foreman on Freenode on IRC, or on Twitter. Those of you on YouTube, please check the video quality. The default is not great for screen sharing. We actually have a lot on today's demo. We have some very nice features, and we're on a tight schedule, so let's start straight away. Greg is returning to us next week. Those of you on Discourse maybe didn't even notice because he was so responsive during his leave, and even on IRC, he was pretty responsive, but now he's returning to us full-time, and expect to see him next demo.
CFP for open source camp in Berlin is now closed. You can go to our site and see our speakers. This will be on June 14 in Berlin, and tickets are available. Both Foreman 1.17 and Catello 3.6 have been released. This version took a little longer than expected. There were some setbacks to overcome, but we finally have them out. A big thank you to everyone that tested the release, candidates, open bugs, and contributed. Thank you. And now to our demo.
Let's start with Ido showing us UI changes in Discovery.
Hello. I've refactored a bit the two screens of Discovery host. The first screen is the discovered host. As you can see, I have here 3 hosts. Each one of them has different icon. Each icon represents when was the last time it was updated. Up to this version, there were a bit confusing icons and colors, and we unified them to be a bit more informative. When we click on a host, on a discovered host, you can see also the details screen, which was a bit refactored, and you can see the accordion now is down instead of being parallel to the highlights. The collapse button also moved down to the accordion. And I also fixed the bug that when there was one panel collapsed and we pressed on the button, it was opened and the rest were collapsed. Now it fixed, and actually it almost fixed, and now it works better. That's it.
Thanks, Idon. We're continuing to John, that's going to show us Catello service that moved into Foreman maintain.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen. So in Catello, we have a Catello service script, which just is a basic script to manage all your services in Catello. And we are moving that script to Foreman maintain to just better centralize some of our scripts and have better testing on the scripts. And also we get to leverage all the nice CLI enhancements that Foreman maintain offers. Backup and restore is moving as well. There's 2 PRs open for that currently. And Catello service has been moved and is merged. So the script basically functions exactly the same as it did with Catello service with a few small changes, but you can start. You're going to do Foreman maintain service, and then you're going to have all your options. You can go into those commands, and you can just run a normal service start to start all your services, or you can do it only and choose the service you want to start. Here I'm starting Apache. And you can do the same thing with stop. And when you do a restart, this is going to check for the different features on your machine. And then it's going to restart those services based on what's on your machine. And I'll show this on a Foreman proxy and just a standalone Foreman in a bit. But so this is going to display all the services that are being restarted. And in the same way that the Catalog service script worked, it's going to stop the services and then start them. So I actually have that ran here. And then we added something that's new, which is -p, which the Foreman maintain had a bit of this functionality already. And this is going to wait for a hammer ping to return successfully. So after the services are stopped and then started, it's going to try a hammer ping, and it's actually going to try 5 different times. And if it doesn't return successfully, then the script will exit. So this is a helpful feature as far as like scripting and things like that, where you want to make sure the services are okay. Currently, the Foreman maintain script does use the service wait script, which is how the Catalog service script originally functioned, if it's present on the system. So for instance, on a Foreman proxy or a Foreman service, or sorry, a standalone Foreman, it won't use service wait because that's not present on the system, but for Catalog, it's going to use service wait. So there's a few more commands. There's service status, which is just going to go through and get a system CTL status basically on each service. There is service disable, just going to disable your services, and then service list, which shows the status. Service enable. We can list again, and those are enabled. And then I can go over here to a Foreman proxy, and I'm running restart. I see I already ran it up here. And this is detecting the features on the Foreman proxy, so it's going to restart the Foreman proxy and different pulp pulp-related services on the Foreman proxy. This is a Foreman proxy with content, or a capsule, as they were called. And on standalone Foreman, we can do a restart, and it's going to restart Postgres, Foreman proxy, Apache, and Puppet server. So as far as how we're handling this being released in actual Catalog releases, we're still having discussions around that, but it's going to live alongside the normal Catalog service script in a release, and probably the Catalog service script will probably be deprecated in that release and then be used in favor of Foreman maintain. But there'll be some discussions around that on the community forum. So if you want to weigh in, it'd be a good time to do so. And that's it.
John, we have one question about what happens to the existing Catalog service script. And, well, another one. That's the first one.
Yeah, so that's we've been having discussions around that. It will be removed in favor of Foreman maintain, but like I said, it's going to live. They're going to live alongside each other for at least one release. I mean, I think that's only fair, and have a fair deprecation process for that.
Thanks. The second question, on a proxy, does it restart DHCPD if DHCP is enabled on that proxy?
Let me look. Not currently, but we can definitely add that.
Okay, thanks. Moving on, we have Andrew about managing upstream subscriptions from Catello.
Thank you. So this is a new feature for 3.7, Catello 3.7. And today I'll be demoing just the API. There is a UI aspect, and that's coming later. So here's the actual API definition. It's just your standard CRUD. But what this feature allows you to do is add and remove subscriptions from your Catello manifest. This is something that you would usually have to log into the customer portal to do, and then you'd have to refresh your manifest afterwards. So this feature, you can actually manage those subscriptions, and the manifest refresh happens automatically as well. So I'll just walk through. The first thing is that you need, obviously, a Catello with a manifest. So I'll show you here that my Catello has a manifest imported. And this particular one has 2 subscriptions already. So just note that I'm starting with 2. And here's the API for that same page I just showed you, the subscriptions API. And again, it shows 2. So the first thing we want to do is add a subscription to our manifest. And to do that, we're going to use the get API. And what that's going to do is show us the available subscriptions to attach. So here's the API endpoint. And you'll see that I'm using attachable param. All this is documented, but the attachable param allows you to only see subscriptions that are able to attach to that manifest. So if there are subscriptions that are completely consumed, for instance, it won't show that. So let's go ahead and run this. All right, so this first pool looks good, this first subscription. It's the Red Hat developer subscription. So what I'm going to do is grab this pool ID and provide it to the add subscriptions API. You'll note also that there are 16 total and 0 consumed currently. So the next API is post, and that's creating subscriptions upstream for your manifest in Catello. And this is how you provide the pools that you want to attach and the quantity. We're going to put 3 here. And the output here is actually the Foreman tasks output. And it shows you also the information that you provided to the task. So let's go look at the task in the UI. All right, so it's actually binding the entitlements in the portal, and then it's refreshing the manifest. So the manifest refresh happens after the bind, and that step takes a little longer than the bind. So I'm just going to show you here that the upstream subscriptions API that we initially used to list the available subscriptions, it's going to show updated immediately. So you'll see that here. So now we have consumed 3. The task is still running, and that's because of the manifest refresh. So Catello won't update until that happens. We'll just wait for that to finish. OK, so yeah, this error is not related and is a bug when I made this demo, so you can ignore that. You'll see it on all of these tasks, actually. So now we'll actually go look at the subscriptions and like in Catello and see that they've updated. So this is the subscriptions API. The normal subscriptions API, this is the one that existed before this demo. And you can see that we have 3 now. And here's our Red Hat developer subscription, and it has quantity 3. OK, so the next API that I want to show you is the ability to update the quantity of an existing subscription on your manifest. And so you see here that it's the put endpoint. All right, so this put endpoint requires the local pool ID. Right now it's 8. That's the one that we want to edit. So you provide it to the put endpoint like this, and you provide the quantity that you want it to be. So we had it at 3, and we want it now to be 1. Go ahead and send that request. And again, we get back here the task output. And so we'll go check out the task in the UI. You could obviously look at the task in the API, but it's nicer to look at in the UI. All right, and then I'll go ahead and show you the Dimeflow console for this, just to show you. I was mentioning that the manifest refresh happens. You can see that it updates the entitlements, and then it for each entitlement that you provide it, and then it performs the manifest refresh. And again, the manifest refresh takes the longest. Okay, so the task is finished. We got our lovely error that doesn't matter. And we'll go back to the subscriptions UI and see that now we have 1 instead of 3 of those. And I'll also show you that in the API. So we had 3, and now we have 1. And then also upstream subscriptions, we had 3 consumed, and now we're going to have 1 consumed. So all of those APIs tied together in that way. Okay, so the final API obviously is delete. We'll go ahead and remove the subscription from my Catello instance, or from my organization, I guess. And it's the same way you provided the local pool ID, and this endpoint actually just takes an array of pools to delete. And again, the output is the task. And as I said before, all these are doing the manifest refresh. So I'll quickly show you that again. They're all structured in the same way. All right, and so we'll just wait for this task to complete, and then I'll show you the results. Okay, so here's the subscriptions UI. I'll refresh back to our original 2 subscriptions. And same thing with the upstream subscriptions endpoint. You see that we have consumed 1, and it should be 0 now. And there it is. So we gave it back to the portal, so to speak. And then finally, here are the 2 subscriptions that we started with. And that's it. So that's the complete API. And yeah.
Thanks, Andrew. So there's a little bit of a delay on YouTube, so I think we'll continue to Dominic, and then we'll have questions later. So Dominic, listing auth sources with Hammer.
Hi, I present you some little feature in Hammer CLI, and this is listing all auth sources. Now we can list all auth sources.
We can't see your screen. No.
No?
No.
Wait. And what now?
Nope.
It might be a Wayland issue if you're using Fedora.
Yeah, I'm using Fedora. Okay.
You might need to share your whole screen then.
And now it's working.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Yeah. And do you see the terminal?
we still see your profile picture.
Okay.
Try sharing again. Before we did see everything.
It looks I'm sharing that, but it's maybe for Fedora problem.
Okay, Dominic, let's move to Sebastian, and we'll return to you later.
Yeah, sorry.
So Sebastian, with disabling the out of sync status.
Okay, my screen sharing hopefully works.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, I'm going to show you how to disable out of sync, which is a new feature that is currently in nightly for Puppet and will hopefully soon also move to Foreman Ansible nightly, and you can disable out of sync. So you can see that currently there is one host out of sync in my environment. This is because Puppet Agent is not run regularly. I only run it when I have configuration changes. And this also applies to Ansible environments. So we also have now a setting for Puppet. And you can find it, of course, under the Puppet tab. And it says Puppet out of sync disabled, and we set it to yes. And if we go back to the dashboard, this host is now considered okay and good. And there has also not been a Puppet run, so it's just not at off sync anymore. And as said, this also comes to Foreman Ansible. And that's it, actually.
Thanks. I don't see any questions at the time. Dominic, do you want to try sharing again?
Yes, I will try, but I find a bug with Wayland on Fedora. Maybe that's it. Is it working now?
No.
Maybe we move this demo for next demo.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's happened to a few people with Wayland. We should maybe add some kind of warning. Okay. So we're moving to Amit with anonymize old audits.
Hello, everyone. So I'll be presenting you anonymizing old audits. But the original PR was submitted by Julian Todd. I'll be just presenting it. Let me share my screen. So basically, anonymizing the old audits, it basically anonymizes the identity of the users with respect to its username, remote address, its ID, and all those necessary. According to the recent law in Europe, we have to implement this into our task. So it's basically a Foreman task where it will nullify the fields which are with respect to username, user ID, and the remote address, which is being tracked in the auditing. So let me walk you through the rake task, and we'll go. So we'll see first how many records are there in a database which are having all those entries in our database. So let me describe you what the audit table is here. So it is basically having all these attributes, along with you can see there is user ID, user type, username, and a remote address. So all these attributes are considered to be the private personal information, which is not to be shared for longer purpose. So when I fire the query, I get we having 6 records in our database which are having all these attributes which are filled. So moving with it, so we'll be emptying all these records after the rake has been completed. So in this rake task, we will provide an attribute which is number of days. So providing based on the number of days, it will anonymize all the records after those particular days and make those entries as a null entry into the database, so that we'll be pertaining only the will be pertaining the audits, but will not be pertaining the user information or their basic personal information, which is I guess not legal in European countries now. So there is an rake task created in audits, which is anonymizing it. So this is anonymized, and the parameter is days. So after 7 days, all the records which have been created before 7 days will be anonymized. That means it will nullify the columns which are having values in the username, user ID, and the remote address, which is the IP address of the particular user. So by running the rake task, we will see it has to show us 6 records has been anonymized. Yeah, so we can see the successfully 6 audits has been anonymized, which are older than the date mentioned. So now if we check in our this thing, all the records which are to be there is anonymized. And let me show you a record. Like you can see, is for example the ID as 602. We'll see, because before the rake task, the column was having user ID, username, and remote address, which you can notice is empty right now. So we have successfully anonymized it. So yeah, so let me walk you through the code now. So this is the PR which has been submitted by Julian. So here we are gathering all those records in the audit table, which are having remote address nil, user ID nil, and username as nil. This is an AND query wherein, like, if any, suppose for example Puppet performs any task which has been audited, in that case the remote address is nil. So those records are not to be iteratively again and again has to be made nil. So this AND query eliminates such records from the database which are having any of these record as not nil in this thing. So it will only fetch all the records which are having which are satisfying all the 3 conditions, and it will update them into nil value. It is pretty straightforward. And so if we don't provide any date, it will by default take 90 days. So yeah, that's it.
Thanks. I don't see any questions right now. We're moving to Avi, that's going to show us the breadcrumbs bar.
Hey everyone. So the UI team worked really hard in order to create this new breadcrumb. Next week in Wednesday, we are going to have a deeper look into it. We will also show some API and how to use it. But right now, I just want to show you how it looks like. So right now, I'm in the compute profiles, and I can see the list, the tables of 3 profiles. And let's just choose one of them. And do you see this breadcrumb switcher? Basically, it's giving me a context about where I am. I can click here, of course, and go back to the compute profiles if I want to. So it's easier to navigate that way. And I have here this switcher button. So I can click on it. I can see the other resources from the previous page. And I can easily switch between of them, just like that. We think it's really convenience. If the list will be bigger, you can have pagination inside. We also have a plan to add search into this list, so you can search and filter on the go if this list is really huge. And let's try another example. Let's go to installation media. And here again, I have this table. I can go to one resource. I can click on the media to go back. I can click on the switcher and just switch between different resources. And that's it basically. Thank you.
Thanks, Avi. Okay, Dominic is back. Let's try one more time. Dominic?
Yeah, it's working.
We can see your screen now.
Do you see the terminal?
And we see your terminal, yay.
Oh, yes. Okay. I want to present you a little feature in Hammer CLI, and it's listing all sources, and you can do it.
Can you make that a little bit bigger?
Wait a minute. It's better?
Yeah, great.
Okay. You can do it through command. List all outsources. Hammer outsource list, and you see all authentication sources except hidden with IDs and names. This feature adds some more to Hammer, and now you can use when you create a user, you can create it by using outsource name, not only ID. For example, if you create this user, you can pass the outsource name to outsource, no, not only for outsource ID. Oh, this exists, yeah, okay. I try to create another user. It's work. And when we list the user is there. And I think that's all.
Great. Thank you. I don't see any questions right now. So our last demo for the day is from Oleg. He actually couldn't make it, so he sent us a demo, a recorded demo. We're gonna try and share that, and we'll see. If you can't hear when I start the video, please let us know on IRC.
Hi, I'm going to introduce you to plugins for Hammer CLI, as well as two new options for it. And then I'll show you two new commands for the Hammer CLI Foreman. All right, the first one is templates plugin. If you have installed the Foreman templates plugin for the Foreman, you may want to install templates plugin for Hammer as well. All right, I'll just show you two commands from this plugin. Again, it's a templates plugin for Hammer CLI So you don't need to use I don't know, rate commands, or for example you may use to, if you used to use rake tasks for importing or exporting templates, for example templates export, or if you use the curl to call the every directly. Now now it can be done via commands, hammer commands. For example, for exporting templates, you may use the following command: export templates. Let's see what help says. Yeah, this it has the same functionality as direct tasks or directly calling the API. So it, yeah, I'll just show you. Export finished. Let's look if it's true. Yeah, as you may see, everything was exported. The import command works almost the same way. It just imports the templates. So if you previously used direct tasks or curl view, you know what it does. Yeah. The next plugin is Ansible plugin. So actually, Ansible plugin for manipulating with Ansible roles. Yeah. If you use the importing your local Ansible roles via GUI, now it can be done via hammer commands. I also assume you know how to install or where to find those plugins. So I'll just again show you some functionality. Hammer Ansible roles. Yeah, it's named one way. So let's import our roles. I've got some pre-installed Ansible roles, so I just import them. Yeah. So it says 3 roles were imported. Let's list them. Sorry. Ansible roles list. And yes, here they are. Nothing special, but I think it may be useful if you prefer hammer commands over the GUI. Alright. It has the same functionality. Of course, it has the same functionality as the GUI version of the plugin. Well, no. Alright, those are plugins. Now I'm going to show you 2 new options for the hammer. So, alright. The first one is option no headers. If it might be it might be useful if you I don't know, have a lot of script processing of the command's output for your using. It might be useful to print, I don't know, tables or CSV values without headers. I'll better show you. Let's, for example, list again our Ansible roles. For example, Hammer Ansible roles, but with option no headers. Headers. Yeah. So as it was expected, it prints the same information, but without headers. I hope it will be useful for you. Okay, the second option is output file. So you no longer need to redirect your output. For example, let's say the same command, but previously you could redirect output to some file. I don't know, temp output, to save the result of the command. But now there is no more need for that. You could use the option output file. Output file for that. Now let's see. Ansible CSV, for example, something useful. All right, it's using a reference output file. Yeah. And let's see what our output file contains. CSV. So well, I don't know what to say more about that. We've got just new option which supports output file. Yeah. All right. The next features are for the Hammer CLI Foreman. Like, those are two commands. The first one lets you manipulate your personal access tokens. Again, it might be useful if you prefer Hammer commands. I'll just show you. Let's create a token, personal access token. Hammer for user access token create. Let's see what helps. So we need to name it at first. I know this token, let's say, for user ID 4, for example, and when it expires I don't know, any date. Let's see this one. And it's created. One more thing, one important, I think, thing that the token value will be printed only once. So after creating the token, don't look its value not in the debug output or the log file. It will be printed just here, just only once. Yeah. All right. What else? you could not just create, but also show yourself info about some token or list them or even revoke. All right. The last command for Hammer CLI Foreman is enc dump, which lets you show a host's enc. I'll better show you. Hammer host enc dump or host. Which host? Sorry, I don't remember. All right, let's see. Host nc dump for third host. Yeah, one thing, it prints in YAML format anyway. So if you wanted to, I don't know, maybe you wanted to see this the information via JSON output. JSON. It will not print here for you JSON, but again it will print only the YAML format. Just for you to know. And I think that's it. That's all features I wanted to show you. So I hope we will see next time. Thank you.
Thank you to Oleg for sending that in. And that was our last demo for today. Thanks for watching. See you next time.